What is a survival myth that is completely wrong and could get you killed? Boop and Snoots haha said. Pretty much any self-defense videos you see on the internet, especially the ones involving guns and knives. If you don't have training, you're highly likely to get stabbed or shot. Give them what they want and escape with your life. You can always rebuild and recover. Gribbonets said. Not a myth, but great advice. Download What 3 Words on your phone. It grids the globe in 3x3 meters squares and provides 3 different words for each square, allowing you to very accurately give your location to emergency services. I saw it in a newspaper and it sounded cool. I have actually used it once to direct the fire brigade to my location. But for survival situations it could be a lifesaver. Good Kid Mad City said. Rubbing bacon grease on your testicles will not help poison ivy. Didn't help the painful rash on my legs feel any better. Tito Tabasco said. Predators' heat vision can spot you, even though you're covered in mud. S. West 211 said. I've always heard you should take a deck of cards with you. If you get lost, start playing a game of solitaire. Before long someone will tap you on the shoulder and tell you which card you should play next. I'm not 100% sure, but this sounds like a dangerous myth to me. Surely the person playing solitaire will take offense and shoot you. Red Leader 7 said. You always hear in Australia to rub a bit of Vegemite behind your ears to keep the drop bears away. This does not work at all and makes no difference if they attack you or not. Just stay away from tall trees at night when you're in the bush. Sill and Dill said. Keeping a Zippo lighter with cotton in your survival gear. The gas evaporates completely in just a few weeks and it wastes a lot of fuel per usage. Isn't storm-proof either. A plain plastic lighter like Bic retains gas for years and wastes less gas per use. Joy Aboy said. Trapping is infinitely more efficient than hunting. I mean, just think about it. You can set up traps all over a desired area and you are almost guaranteed to catch some small game. And you could always build reusable traps or make new ones. Hunting requires more time, effort and patience. It's more risk for negligible reward. If you're hunting with a gun, you can run out of ammo. If you're using a bow and arrow, you can break your arrows and they're hard to replace. Unless you are an experienced hunter, trapping will keep you fed, while hunting will get you killed. Knucking Futz Winks said. Here's a good one. If you're in an elevator in free fall, do not jump. It won't make your landing easier, it'll probably paralyze or kill you. Lay yourself flat to try and distribute your weight, as well as the pressure of the crash, more evenly. You'll give yourself a better chance at survival this way. I mean, it's an elevator, so no guarantee you'll survive, but still small chance is better than none. Titty Circles said. My dad went to a conference for engineers and found himself in an elevator with some elevator engineers. He of course started asking about the safety of elevators and how many free falls actually happen. They told him that basically, any elevator built past the 1950s is unable to free fall. There are extremely effective measures in place in modern elevators that will always cause it to stop itself. It was an extremely relieving thing to hear from my dad, who absolutely hates elevators, laugh out loud. Whether this is completely true or not, it's comforting to know that free falls mainly exist in movies. Automorsis said. The second time I was home invaded, a man broke into my house with full intent on murdering me. I fought back and survived through training, experience in crisis, and whatever luck was afforded, which gave me the opportunity to turn the tables. No more worse for wear than a scar on my head after 27 stitches. My friend was with me, who was very nearly struck by this degenerate, but he got out of the way, got the heck out of there too, across the street to the neighbor's house, and called the police. To this day he keeps apologizing for not doing more, like he should have been expected to turn into some kind of action hero and help fight him off. What he did is actually the correct thing to do. Although the police response time wasn't quick enough to have saved me, they did catch the I-hole dead to rights on my property after what he tried to do. My friend is a very talented software developer and a lovely guy, always chipper no matter what, who most likely would have gotten hurt Or worse, had he tried to intervene, and there'd be no one to call the police. Don't feel you have to charge into an altercation you may not survive. Fleeing to a place of safety and calling the police should be your first priority. All the martial arts dojos, self-defense gurus, or whatever people try to peddle that pretend works every time will not prepare you for being in a visceral fight for your life. They just want your money and will get you killed. Betelgeuse said. Keeping a first aid kit in your car. Of the commercial kits on the market, 90% are little OE class kits. Take a real first aid course, learn what should be in a kit and make one yourself. And if you do buy one, go through it and understand what everything in it does and how to use it. Periodically check to make sure it is okay, replace anything that is past its use by date. An emergency is a really sucky time to discover that you can't close a major laceration with 100 expired My Pet Monster band-aids and a pair of, as seen on TV, scissors that are rusted shut. Kachiko Chips said. I once made a test where I went away for 10 days and left a 100% charged Galaxy phone on the kitchen counter, but on that ultra power saving mode thing where it just leaves you with basically a fancy 2000s phone, screen res goes to lowest, black background, only usable apps are phone calls, SMS, calculator and a few more. When I came back home, it was at 52%. So, if you're ever lost or stranded and you have a smartphone on you, turn on the ultra power saving as you need that use to last. Beaterborn said. You won't need that, we won't be gone long. Carry basic survival tools whenever you go out hiking, hunting, camping, etc. Things like a magnesium with flint and steel fire starter, a life straw or water purification tablets don't weigh much or take up much space and can be a lifesaver. Many get lost on short trips or get injured leaving them stuck in the wilderness. It doesn't take a massive forest or jungle to get lost. In my personal hunting pack I always carry a survival knife, fire starter, and life straw. These 3 items may not guarantee survival, but they improve my odds. Snoo Muffins 4495 said. I don't know if this is considered as a survival myth, but engaging street fights is never a good option. If there is an altercation that may lead to a street fight, just stay calm and run away from the situation. No one wins real street fights. Someone will either end up in a hospital or in a funeral. That's just the truth. I have bad Reddit said. More just a, hey, don't do that. Leave large animals alone. Even if you find, say, a large track or droppings that make you think, hey, that's probably a big enough animal to kill me. Leave the area. Herbivores like moose or elk or bison can kill you just as easily as a bear. Often far more likely because they see you as the predator. Don't close the distance if you find a large critter. I don't care if the photo is crappy from that distance. Better to have a crappy photo of a bison than get crushed and stomped in the middle of nowhere to bleed out alone. David Vital said. If trapped, lost in snowstorm while driving, A. Do not leave your car. You are literally inside a shelter already. A shiny one. It is easier to spot a snow-covered vehicle than a snow-covered corpse. B. Do not keep your engine running. It's a snowstorm, your exhaust will block, you will nap. Snugga bugga, you're dead. Wait for storm to pass, check exhaust is clear, run engine in short bursts. C. If you have ignored these steps and are now walking in the snowstorm because your sense of direction is flawless, do not remove any clothing layers. You will believe you are getting hot. You will rationalize it's from burning calories. You will die. The hot feeling is you losing body temp. You are now slowly dying. If you still have your wits, retrace your steps and head straight back to your car. Wait for rescue. M. Joneseman said. For the love of God, do not eat everything raw. If I see another episode of Bear Grylls eating a bat or bird as raw as sashimi, I think I'll go crazy. You should absolutely try your best to cook the food you've nabbed. Even if it's through an open fire for a few minutes. Eating, say, a dead bird that may or may not have bird flu is a hell of a lot worse than creating a fire to cook it over. Congrats for completely screwing yourself by eating raw wild meat. Eat Divefly said. Perhaps not really a myth, but something people may think is true after watching people get rescued from the water on TV. Get them breathing and send them on their merry way. If you rescue someone from a near drowning, they still need to go to the hospital, even though they are safely on land now. The lungs are coated with a slippery mucus-like substance called a surfactant. It's kind of a lubricant, and it keeps them from collapsing and sticking to themselves. If they ingested a lot of water into the lungs, chances are they have washed away the surfactant. Their lungs could collapse at any moment, and their ability to uptake oxygen is reduced. Get the survivor on oxygen. True Insanity said, everyone focuses on food and water, but completely underestimates how quickly exposure will kill you dead. In some cases, you won't last 24 hours. Bonus addition to this, every guide I have ever read says to make fire first. Making fire is freaking hard sometimes. There are many environments where you flat cannot guarantee a good fire, like deserts, because of lack of fuel, and anything especially wet. If you get halfway through the night and realize you can't make fire, you are going to have problems. So make shelter. You can always guarantee a shelter and insulated sleeping spot. Make sure your bedding is at least 4 inches thick when you lay on it. I guarantee you'll underestimate just how bad the ground sucks the heat out of you. Make your shelter as small, thick and weatherproof as possible. Cardamom Poppies said, most people probably are aware of this, but if you're legit suffering from diarrhea, you need to be doing more than just drinking water, because you're also losing a lot of salts electrolytes, and not replenishing those can really mess you up. You can make a pretty basic Pedialyte Gatorade at home from adding 6 teaspoons of sugar and a half teaspoon of salt per liter of water. It won't taste super great, but you can throw in other flavorings to mask it, like lemon juice or similar. I did Peace Corps in a tropical region, and most of the volunteers came to dread the inevitable parasite GI infection episodes, not just because of being incredibly sick, but also because of having to drink liters and liters of ORS, which is Peace Corps' preferred Pedialyte knockoff, ha ha ha. White Gravy 747 said, wait until you hear the freight train sound to go to the tornado shelter. I was always told as a kid, if you can't hear it, you're alright. At 20 years old, I was caught out in the woods with a few friends thinking we had 10 to 15 minutes to get back to the truck after the tornado warning went out. 3 minutes after the warning, we heard what sounded like a freight train and this loud hissing sound. Like 1,000 rattlesnakes. Within 30 seconds we were watching trees get plucked up into the air. We all made it out all right. Luckily there was a large ravine that was dry that time of year, and we scrambled into it and flattened out, gripping to each other and rocks for dear life. It took 30 seconds from the time we realized it was in front of us till it was on top of us. Later in life I watched a F3 touchdown. Because how tornadoes spin and the earth spins, and I was traveling at 75 miles per hour down a highway. I thought I was running alongside it. About 1 mile from it. I couldn't hear it, I could see trees and barns going up into the air with it. I never realized it was coming towards me at about 30 miles per hour. By the time I heard it and felt a pressure change inside the cab of my truck, I had no choice but to bail out and run into a culvert alongside the interstate. This all happened within 60 seconds. If you've already heard the tornado, you need to be in your shelter. Not heading towards it. A tornado watch is an advisory to be watching for tornadoes. It means it is highly plausible for a tornado to form and touch down. A warning means a radar-indicated tornado has touched down and possibly even been spotted by human eye. If you cannot get indoors, get as low as you can. I have made a habit, as soon as a tornado watch is released in my county, my go bag, the diaper bag, the kids' stuff they will need all goes in a large duffel in the storm room. I'll watch velocity radar like a hawk until the watch is cleared. If it is elevated to a warning, we all pile in. Tornadoes can drop out of the sky right on top of you in under a minute, leaving you with little to no reaction time.